Alright, what's going on, guys? Um, Back with my next video. I know I'm late. It's been a minute. Um, this video is going to be a little different. We're going to be taking a little break from the book that I was getting my tips and tricks from. Basically helping with self-care. This time we're just going to be talking about a few of the topics. I'm going to be bringing this in every once in a while in between those videos where we just talk about certain topics that people might be dealing with, might be struggling with, might be holding you back, might be causing you challenges. And then because I want everyone to understand you're not alone and you're not the only one dealing with it, and you got people out here that share the same experience as you do. I'm going to be talking from experience. As you can see from the title, today we're going to be talking about failure. I want to start by saying I set a goal for myself. I wanted to make a video a week to build my engagement, build a community, really get things on track. I did fall short of that goal, not just by 1 week, but by 2. I made an agreement that I was gonna make a video last night, which would have made it just 1 week, but I did miss that goal as well. I want to take accountability for that. But I do also want to say failure, although it does happen to all of us, everyone, we do fall short. We do set goals for ourselves that may not always come to fruition, may not always go the way we want them to. And that doesn't define who you are. Failure is nothing but a stepping stone. Nothing but feedback, letting you know, all right, whatever goal I had in mind, I might have came up short, whether that's from poor planning, poor setup. Maybe it wasn't your fault at all. And things came up, challenges happen, roadblocks come up, and you might fall short. It doesn't define who you are. Sure, you might not have hit that goal. That doesn't mean you can't try again. That doesn't mean you can't get back up and keep going. I heard somebody say, it's not about how hard you get hit. It's about whether you get up, whether you keep going, whether you keep trying, whether you stay committed, whether you continue to keep fighting. And I'm here to tell you, keep fighting, keep going, stay on track. Because the thing about it is, no one's going to remember you failed once you start getting your success, once you start going, once you start hitting your goals, once you start doing everything you wanted to do, once you start achieving everything you wanted to do, once you become the person you wanted to be, no one's going to remember the failures. All they're going to see is your success. All they're going to see is your success. There's going to be a few people, that were locked in with you that have been there from the beginning, but no one's going to remember your failures. No one's going to be, they're like, well, you failed this before. Well, just be like, look at me now. I got up and I kept going, and look where I'm at. So don't let one failure, don't let 2 failures, don't let 3 failures, don't let however many setbacks, however many times you might have fell short, don't let that define you. Do not let that define you. One thing about failure is it exposes how committed you really are. It exposes your mindset, it exposes your habits. A lot of people, they end up falling short because they're not as committed as they said they were, or they're not as you gotta forgive me, I'm looking for the word. It reveals just how up to the challenge you are. It reveals whether you're going to respond with excuses, avoidance, blame, saying, oh, well, it only happened because of this, or it's not my fault, or, not wanting to accept that maybe it did have something to do with you. Maybe there is something you could have done to hit your goal or whatever it is you were trying to achieve. It might show that whether you're committed or you're not. A lot of people, they're quick to blame someone else or blame their circumstances or blame, oh, this, that, and the third, and I only messed up because of this, or I only fell short because of this. That may be true, it might not. Regardless of the reason, there's no point in making excuses. You either keep going or you don't. You can sit there and try to, blame everybody else as much as you want, blame the circumstances as much as you want. At the end of the day, it's life. Nobody cares. Everybody has their own challenges. Everybody has their own stuff they deal with. You can't stay focused on why you messed up or why the goal fell through, why it didn't happen the way you wanted to. You don't got time for that. Time keeps going. Life goes on. It's just going to keep going. Time doesn't stop for anyone. So you either keep going or you don't. Simple as that. So it's just all about the discipline and commitment. Sure, you slipped up. It is what it is. Keep going. Keep your head up. Stay focused. Biggest thing about failure that people don't realize is if you avoid failure, you avoid growth. So many people avoid challenges, avoid setting realistic goals for themselves, avoid setting challenging goals for themselves, avoid working hard because they feel like, well, if I don't have to worry about messing up, I'll never fail. But here's the thing. When you fail, you're that much closer to success. You're that much closer to growing into the person you want to be. You're that much closer to being the person you want to become when you hit those goals. Avoiding success is just like trying to take a shortcut. A shortcut that only takes you in a circle. You're not going anywhere. You're not getting any closer to the person you want to be. You go through those challenges and you go through those failures, all those are stepping stones. Those are stepping stones to get to exactly who you're trying to become and the goals you're trying to achieve. Sometimes you need to fail. Sometimes you need to slip up. Sometimes you need to make mistakes because they build character. You ever seen your favorite? Look, I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt right now. You ever see Spider-Man slip up, make a mistake? He might lose, but it doesn't define who he is. He might lose a fight here and there, but he'll never lose the battle. He will never once lose the battle, and that's why he is who he is, and that's why you are who you are. Because you're not going to lose the battle. You're not going to give up. You're not going to stay stagnant. You're not going to try to stay comfortable because it's easier. That's one thing that none of us are going to do. We're not going to stay in our comfort zones just because it's easier and we don't have to worry about looking bad or looking like we're awkward or looking like you failed. No. You're going to stand out and you're going to get out your comfort zone and you're going to keep going. We all are. That's the goal I want for all of us. We're not going to let failure define us. We're not going to let mistakes define us. We're going to keep going. We're going to get out our comfort zone. Sure, it might be weird at first. It might be awkward at first. Who cares? I can promise you, nobody's paying attention. Nobody's going to be paying attention until you become the person you want to become. And then you could decide, if you want to, who you want to let get your attention or whatever the case may be. But right now, just focus on you, focus on achieving your goal, and focus on being the person you want to become. That starts with dealing with challenges, dealing with slip-ups, dealing with the hardships, and just pushing through. Simple as that. Last thing I want to talk about is failure only becomes permanent if you stop trying. Well, they say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It was one basketball player I heard. He said, "I'd rather go 1 for 100 than 1 for 10, because 1 for 10 means I stop shooting." You don't realize you're not a failure if you keep trying. Sure, you might slip up. Sure, you might hit a roadblock. Sure, you might not hit your goal as soon as you want to. That's not the end. That is not the end. You do not sit there and stay stagnant and stay in whatever mindset it is that might cause you to feel like a failure, might cause you to feel like you can't do it, you can't succeed, you can't keep going, you don't have what it takes, because that's not true. That is not true at all. If anything, it makes you better. Now you know what not to do. Now you know how to bypass that roadblock, how to keep going, how to stay on track, how to be better. And that's one thing that all of us are going to do. But with that being said, appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy this new type of video. And if you're new and you're seeing this video out the blue, welcome to the crew. And I'm out.